to the show, welcome to the show. Here to give you knowledge that you didn't know. Put you on some game, now you got a buzz. You are now listening to Cannabruhz. Hey, what up with it?
What's up?
Man, what's going on, man? Look, you are back with the Cannabruhz, Jerritt and Corey of the Cannabruhz Media. First thing we want to do before anything is make sure you smash that like, share, subscribe button. Get us some love. Corey, we trying to get up there to what? 50,000, 100,000 subscribers or something like that?
Hey, until YouTube says you got too many subscribers.
Come on, man. They're going to have to boot us off that thing. You know what I'm saying? Fan base, social club. You know where to find us and find these clips as well on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, the whole nine, man. We out here. But look, what's going on, man? We appreciate y'all rocking with us as always, man. It's been a while, of course, but we are strategically taking some time off to make sure that we continue to build on our system. You know, this is a full machine over here that Corey and I and team are trying to create and establish and maintain, you know. So that's the big thing. Corey, how you doing, bro?
Man, I'm doing great. You know, as usual, feels good to be back. You know, it's tax season, baby.
It's tax season, baby. Yeah.
So
yes, sir.
We're constantly prepping to help on our other business, help, you know, cannabis businesses succeed and, you know, help them navigate through tax season and set their business up for success. So
that's right.
It's always nice to be able to jump out one world and jump into another world. So it's nice and refreshing when you get back. It's not, you know, no burnout there whatsoever. So
Fact.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good. Happy to be here to speak with these two amazing brothers right here, and
yes, sir.
And get our learn on, man.
Yeah, man. Today's a good day, man. I can't even go through the rest of this episode without shouting out my beautiful, amazing, supportive, loving, caring wife. That's my dog, man. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to my wife, man, it's I am not even close to the person you see without her. And it's crazy because I lived a whole lot of life before she came around. But I've been a happy man. Today is our 2-year anniversary. Anniversary. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, it's a big thing, man. You know, and we out here, you know, at Duncan Dynasty, you know, trying to push just a positive image of Black marriage and young Black family, and just two people that won't settle for taking anything less, man. Raising our daughter, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever the best we can and trying to honor God with our lives. So that's who we are, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to my wife. I appreciate you. You know, drop a comment or something like that. I know you'll watch this back. If there's no comment, bro, that means she ain't watch it. Let's tell you something. Yeah, man. So, man, I'm ready to go in there and kick it off, because I know, first of all, y'all could see the screen. If you are joining us through the visual, not the audio, then you're on the screen probably like, first of all, it's not just them two like it normally is, right? It's not even just one. We got two guests today, and you can read for yourself, but we got to go ahead and give you that official rollout, right? Okay. So come on, man. Once again, like, share, and subscribe. The first person that we have to introduce, right, is a brother that I had the opportunity and the honor of connecting with just online. You know how this thing goes. Since the pandemic, it's been a beautiful renaissance of like networking, right? Because now we're not waiting until we can meet in a Starbucks or waiting until, you know, an event to connect with one another. We hop on a video call and just have a conversation. And me and this brother here did exactly that. You know, this is Jerritt Thomas. He is with Releaf Health. And he, you know, I just wanted to give you a Cannabruhz welcome. And let's get our roll on one time. Hey.
Oh, that's what we do?
Yes, sir. Welcome to the Cannabruhz Podcast. Welcome. But introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit more about yourself, Jerritt. We're happy to have you, man.
Thank you. My name is Jerritt Thomas. I'm CEO of Releaf Health in Portland, Oregon. I'm also CEO of Amisha Innovations. We're a cannabis tech company. We have developed several patented technologies for the cannabis industry, including our own seed to sell software. You'll be seeing that coming out here soon. And when you're ever in the Portland, Oregon area, if you want to stop by our dispensary, we're at 3213 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. So on MLK. Right. So if you're ever in, you can stop in and get some weed, and the Popeyes is across the street.
Can't get any more black than that, man.
Look here, bro.
we got to clap that up. You said, look, man, hey, come on now. You can't get any more authentic than that. I mean, they would definitely have to be cooking it. They would have to be cooking it in the dispensary for you for it to be more authentic.
Off on all blackened chicken.
If you ever come in there, during lunch hours, usually always a 12-piece and a biscuit sitting over there on the counter. So
there you go.
We enjoy it like anybody else.
That's right. That's right. Well, Jerritt, we appreciate you joining us. Of course, you guys see me and Corey. If you step back just a quick second, right, and show them the drip, you know what I'm saying? Because we're out here right now, not in our normal Cannabruhz merch. Y'all see that later. Y'all see that every episode, right? But we're not in the mink mentality Cannabruhz merch. We're not doing that today. As you can see, we're a little bit off the ground. And by that, I simply mean we flying high. Today, we actually have with us a 25-year-old entrepreneur, minority-owned business, and this is the CEO, cannabis influencer, brand entrepreneur, man, judge at the at the Texas what was that now?
The Texas Hemp Cup.
The Texas Hemp Cup. I don't want to get it incorrect. So shout out to them. The judge at the Texas Hemp Cup, and just an all-around solid dude. We would like to introduce the entire Cannabruhz universe, Cannabruhz world to our brother Pearce Giles. Man, y'all make some What's going on, man? What's up with you?
Nothing much, man. Just trying to settle in and get back to work.
Yeah, get back to work, man. I just want you to, first of all, we give you the welcome there, man, because we are just, we definitely impressed. Corey actually can tell them a little bit more about you.
Man.
Yeah.
So, first off, met this amazing gentleman at the Texas Hemp Summit. Shout out to the Texas Hemp Coalition. Shout out to Texas Cannabis in general.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, so I met him at the Texas Hemp Summit, and naturally, as many of us know in the cannabis industry, it's not many individuals that look similar to myself in the industry, right?
Right.
So naturally, I was like, okay, naturally, I want to chop it up, see like what roles you all are playing in the industry and how I and Jarrell can support, right? So got the opportunity to sit down with Pearce after the event. It was actually during it was like a happy hour, cocktail hour style. And he was just walking past, and I was like, hey, like he's out of the blue, just like, hey, let me holler at you real quick. And I was very impressed, just everything that he's accomplished, what his aspirations are, what he's looking to accomplish. And he's from Funky Town.
Let's go.
I love the Funky Town. If you don't know what Funky Town is, that's Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah.
So DFW, that's the FW in DFW.
There you go. Hey, P, what you say?
I said he can say that FW again in the back for the people that don't hear that.
People in the back, yeah.
Look, got to give Fort Worth some love, man, because a lot of people just talk about Dallas and Fort Worth there too, putting it on the back. Yeah, man. Solid guy, man. Definitely stand up, and we got your back, bro.
Oh yeah, absolutely got your back, man. I'm glad that Corey, of course, made the connection. Hey, let's hop on a call with this brother. Let's have a conversation. I'm telling you, man, he's going places. I say, you say less. I'm there. We have a conversation with P, and now, you see us in the gear, man. Y'all make sure y'all check out, by the way, after you like, share, subscribe. make sure you check out the product review because it's super dope. We did a product review over Flying High apparel, the merchandise. You know, what up, Adrian? You know, little guest appearance.
Y'all ain't know we had another special guest hopping in.
In the building.
Yeah, what's up, man? Well, yeah, man, we did a product review over Flying High apparel, you know, because we really like to break it down. I'm a guy that I like my drip. Okay, I can't deny it. All right, I can't deny it. So we really had to do that product review. You know, we had no choice, man. It's such a dope brand, and we want to show love. So y'all be sure to check that out too, man, for sure. But it's better said in your words. Pearce, tell us a little bit more about Flying High Flowers, and how you got started with the business in general.
All right, so I'd probably say about 2.5 years ago, I started Flying High Flowers. It actually wasn't Flying High at first, though. It was Russell Cultivation. I wanted to get into growing. I've loved cannabis since I was probably like 16 years old, and it's just been an interest of mine. I can grow peppers and lemons and everything else, so why not see if I can grow some weed?
Yeah, green thumb, the real green thumb.
So I started it as Russell Cultivation. It's actually my mom's maiden name. Maiden name.
Shout out to moms. Shout out to moms one time.
And one day she was like, "How about Flying High?" A little big backstory about that is when we were 17 years old, my one of my best friends had died in a car accident. And it was like a real big shock to our town, and people were saying like fly high Vincent. That was just a thing on our Twitters, Facebooks, Instagrams that we just all put in our bio.
Okay. Yeah.
And one day my mom was just like, "What about Flying High?" And I don't know what she had said. She said Flying High something, but I was like, boom, Flying High Flowers, because you know a lot of cannabis brands, they use words like botanical and stuff like that. So. How about we make it a little bit discreet and just say Flying High Flowers, and it just stuck. And it rolls off the tongue, so I just went with it, man.
Oh man, that's what's up. First of all, I like it. You know, we're big about, you know, purpose and, you know, true meaning behind things. You know, I even underneath this hoodie, I'm quite tatted up. I don't have one tattoo that I regret, because I'm just one of those people that's like, hey, you know, everything should really be driven back to an ultimate purpose. Everything should be geared towards building us in who we really are, down to our spirits, you know. So I think that's extremely dope. And I love the way that you are honoring, you know, your boy, Vincent. Sure. So, you know, with the Flying High Vincent or Fly High Vincent, like just the way you branded that, you know, and took it and did something else with it. I'm sure everybody from your hometown is pretty proud, man. You getting love out there?
Yeah, just a little bit, man. At first, the clothing was real popping, but now that I'm actually expanding into the cannabis space, it's a little tough because of the regulations and stuff. So
yeah. I'm glad you say that though, man. Those the tough regulations, this gray regulatory world that we all live in now,
I love it.
is tough. We were talking offline. Jerritt was just mentioning, hey man, things get slow. You know, even right now, at the time of this recording, things are slowing up in the cannabis industry. Make no mistake about it. And that's why we knew, in order, other than just talking to you brothers anyways, we had to hop on camera because there was a lot for young entrepreneurs to learn, grab their pen and pad and figure it out from watching something informative about how they can not only create brands and, you know, make money, but how they can weather the storms. Man, make sure you go get your own. Yeah, flyinghighclothing.com. Go and get your own. Of course, there's the overall rating. The overall rating, if I had to say, for the tee and the hoodie, it's a 10. Yep. A win is a win. 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 I'm just saying, yo, P, y'all, a win is a win. Let me tell you, that Flying High merch, fire, man. Y'all see it. And look, this is Jerritt of the Cannabruhz, and this has been another product review. Y'all live life, man, and fly high. And we up. So Jerritt, I mean, glad to have you here. And what I would like for you to speak to is what young entrepreneurs, especially in the cannabis industry, should be focused on. What's the most important thing that they should remember? If they cut this video off after this right here, what should they really keep in mind when trying to efficiently run an e-commerce business in the industry?
I believe you should keep in mind capital. Capital is always at the forefront of everything. Most of our businesses don't have enough runway in the capital space in order to grab that traction and move their company forward. And more times than not, unfortunately, we die on the vine as a result of it. A well thought out plan, along with understanding how much money you have to work with. And when I say how much money you have to work with, not how much money you're going to make, how much cash do you physically have in order to operate a company successfully? I think that is the number one thing I tell everyone who asks me about getting into the cannabis industry or getting into any business. I've run several businesses, and what I understand is capital is always key.
Capital is always key. And that's not the first time that we've heard that. I could tell you that for sure. There's so many businesses, of course, on the other side, at Harvest AF, on the other side, with the financial consulting business that we have, where we look to give, help with financial services, bookkeeping, accounting, taxes, and stuff like that. We have people that always, of course, come to us. One, either they're saying your prices are too high. Ain't that right, Corey?
Our prices are flying high.
They're flying high. That's the next level. You know what I mean? Either our prices are too high, or hey, it's not you, but I simply don't have the capital. So capital has been a big issue in the country when it comes to this industry. But ultimately, I could say not really the country, the entire industry. Because you got a lot of new brands out there. Everybody got a lot of great ideas. They want to get into the product lane. They want to figure out what's next, and they want to be ahead, but they need someone to believe in them because, hey, this is their first business, or I don't have cannabis money. And y'all know what I mean. It's a different situation when you come in this industry than just starting a, popsicle stand, on the corner. Right. Yeah.
Don't I know it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny that you kind of mentioned capital and everything. For a business that is lacking capital, which is a lot of businesses out there, many people will start with, hey, I'm going to start this ground up. I'm going to start from the ground up. I have a little bit of investment, if any at all. And what I really need to do is just grind it out. I'm just going to, the products that I do have, if it's products, I'm going to make it in my kitchen. I'm going to figure this out. Our greatest entrepreneurs and CEOs within the industry come from the legacy market. And that's just the fact. They have a different type of passion for the flower. They understand different capabilities that we have to pick up books to begin to learn about, and they are really the heartbeat behind this entire movement. And we're trying to make sure on the Cannabruhz that they do not get passed up by big MSOs or people that's just looking to capitalize that already have previous success in adjacent industries and such. But of course, the big thing that those MSOs have, let's say if it's a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola or insert MSO or whoever here, right? One big thing they have is the capital to put behind the marketing. Right? Because if no one knows about your amazing next level product and it falls on deaf ears, Corey always says, if a tree falls, like if a tree falls and no one's around, did it really make a sound? So everyone's really concerned about getting the word out, So what would you say, Jerritt, is important when it comes to marketing your brand?
Well, when it comes to marketing a brand, I I believe in customer service. I believe customer service is key.
Mhm.
Cannabis is no different than somebody selling a car or the reason that I might not visit Walmart. If I can't get the customer service, I am not going into that particular establishment. And I think we have to be very, very good with customer service because one, it's free. You don't have to
Right.
pay for customer service. If your people are well trained, you have the ability to give free customer service to everybody who comes in. And I think by doing that, you eliminate having to win back customers.
Mhm.
You're only focusing on the retention side of it, making sure that they're happy with the product that you're offering.
Yeah, absolutely. I know going into putting this and that's great insight, by the way, but going into putting together this episode, I was like, Pearce, I know you had to do a lot with a little help, or do a lot on your own. When it comes to marketing, what issues have you had with marketing flying high?
Marketing it by myself.
Yeah.
Cannabis has such a negative stigma. It's like I do have my Instagrams and my Facebooks and everything set up to market my product, but it's like only when I post it, only I share it because so-and-so is scared that their grandma gonna see it, or they don't want their people from their job to know that they partake in cannabis as well. So it's like,
right.
It's hard getting the word out there when it's just me particularly sharing it.
And in a sense, that plays into the impact on, or it can play into the impact on customer service, because when you're solo dolo running your business and you wearing 15 hats, then the amount of time and the amount of dedication that you have to give to an individual client or customer may not be there as much as somebody that has a team in place where they can, or someone that can focus on training a team. We have that time to help train a team so that they can provide that customer service to make their brand grow.
Yeah. And that's definitely huge, man. Trying to do it by yourself. Marketing takes a lot. We said it takes a lot of dollars, and it takes a lot of hands and time and energy, when it comes to marketing. When we were doing our research, one of the things that came up about marketing, like the first bullet, that we found, was how important the name and logo and graphics that are associated with the name are. For both of you brothers, do you feel that that's true to your brand and how you are able to maybe differentiate between you and the next product or whatever that's out there?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What do you think, Jerritt?
I think it's definitely the case. Along with your logo is it's a little different in the cannabis industry because I believe it's a lot about the logo, but it's a lot about the culture as well. The brand will attach itself to something, no matter what it is, and when that happens, if you have a good bead on what you're trying to do, if you're organized, even if you do have to wear those 15 hats, because I have worn a lot of hats.
Right.
It still lends itself, as far as your customer service is concerned, as far as your brand is concerned, that logo is going to attach itself to something, and when it does, it's going to be positive or negative. And as small business owners, even if you don't have quote unquote capital, or a lot of capital, I believe that if you do the small things well, it will lead to those larger successes. And that, to me, that goes for cannabis just like any other business.
Oh man, gems! Y'all hear that, man? Grab your pen and pad. Dropping gems. You talk about the small things. You have I would say a background, but you do it really well, and it's almost to the forefront when you talk about software development and the technical side, the technology side of the industry. Landing pages seem to be a big thing that people are talking about. If you can get them in, if you can grab a big enough catcher's mitt, if you can get them in your world somehow away from the major platforms that you may have attracted them with, then maybe you have a better opportunity to show them what you're made of and begin the process of customer retention after that point. What do you think about landing pages as a way to really help young entrepreneurs in the game?
You have to have a presence online. So whatever that is, if that's social media, if that's using Instagram or I don't know, people are still using Facebook, so I don't want to date myself, but
I think Facebook's still kind of hot.
It's still out there. Okay, I thought I saw Mark Zuckerberg walking around here somewhere, but if whatever platform that is, you have to have somewhere for them to go. Even if they meet you and you hand them a card, first they're gonna do is look at their website or look at your Instagram page to try and figure out whether you're somebody that they want to do business with. And even if you have a you might not have enough money to get a web designer and things of that nature, you can have just a one pager with your information, your contact information, and your logo, and that will be sufficient. Maybe about us page. It gets a little different when you're talking about e-commerce, because e-commerce is expensive depending on which way you go. So you're going back to looking at the capital side of things. When we have a delivery platform, so we deliver cannabis to people's homes in the Portland metro area. So we have a lot of people who come to our page. They'll come, and what we've understood from the data that we've collected is that first page that they hit will determine where they go from there. So the landing page is always important. And I know a lot of people who say, okay, you're supposed to put certain stock photos on your landing page and things of that nature. Just like social media, I believe you should show who you are, what you represent. And in Pearce's case, that goes a long way, especially in an industry where he is a cultivator. They get to know the cultivar first. The flower comes with that.
Yeah.
Cannabis has been purchased several different ways in the legacy market as well as the legal market. And what I understand from the legacy market side of things, those guys will do a lot of things well. Customer service, they're great at deliveries.
Yep.
They have they have something about themselves to make their clients maybe want to sit down with them when they come to the house.
Not for real.
To drop off product. They trust that person. And I tell all of my bud tenders this very same thing. You are their pharmacist and their bartender. They are going to say things to you that they probably wouldn't say to anyone else except their therapist. And you have to understand what the cultivar understands as far as how that flower will react with whoever they are. And I know I'm kind of getting off in the weeds there a little bit. No,
please.
But
no, all pun intended.
but essentially, when you hit that customer landing page, I believe you don't need it to be this extravagant, expensive, product. You just have to be clear and concise about what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. Pearce, did you have any questions about that? And the reason I asked is because I know when I grabbed my hoodie and I was like, oh, man, I didn't notice it was a tag in here. I pull out the tag and there was a QR. No, there were no words. It was the dope logo that you guys see in the bottom right corner of the screen, and then there was the QR. So you've clearly, made a decision at some point to kind of dabble into, hey, let me give you an easy way to find me, locate, and see what else we got going on. Would you say that? That's true?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have any questions that, maybe Jerritt could help the entire world with when it comes to landing pages or getting people to go from these popular platforms, to, your home base, your hub?
Yeah, honestly, when I post my product on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, I always try to, what Instagram likes to call, activate boost. And they never let me do it because I have cannabis products on my website. So it's like my ads never get approved. So how could I go against A, getting shadow banned, and B, my ads not getting approved? Like, how could I go to get people onto my website other than the QR code that Jerritt saw?
What we have found out over 7 years, and I think 12 Instagram pages.
That's it.
I think that's the right number, but don't quote me on that. Instagram doesn't like our industry
at all.
They do not like our industry. But when you think about it, not many people do. You can't do any type of radio advertisements. But what we do find is if you post things on your website, you don't necessarily have to post them on your IG. You can direct them to your website from IG, and it will eliminate a lot of your page being shut down.
Okay.
Another thing that I do recommend, and this is something that we're tailoring in our software program, is the SEOs from the website. So the search engine optimization of a website is just as important when it comes to web searches, and trying to differentiate what you do from anybody else. Google is never going to put us at the top of a search, just because we might have 100,000 followers on IG.
Yeah,
they're going to do that by understanding how they move those algorithms around, and your SEO people need to kind of understand those algorithms and how they move.
Okay.
I think the hack is literally trying to figure out how to hack that algorithm to get you to the top of that. Companies spend millions of dollars in understanding that and understanding how to hack that. The reason they do that is because most of them don't have any culture in whatever it is they're selling. So they have to cheat the system in a way to put them at the top. So, when I go home there, I like collard greens. So like my collard greens made a certain way. If you don't understand how the algorithm likes their collard greens, they're never gonna jive. Never gonna jive. You're never gonna like them. And these things are tailored in a way so that we can't figure them out. And I think what we have to do more of is connecting more of our brothers and sisters to tech people who understand these algorithms and can assist them in developing a web page. Like I said, it doesn't have to be this, this eBay style, Amazon style website. It just has to be clear, concise, and optimized. And if we can do that appropriately, we can probably trick the algorithms that are in these softwares a little bit more adjust them a little bit more to where they can work for us. And in the final solution of that, we got to build our own. Cannabruhz should pop up every time I hit YouTube.
Yeah.
But it won't. They're going to put somebody else above you.
Mm-hmm.
And the more and more we work with these type of things, we understand that a lot of this is deliberate. So if you're not getting the hits that you're looking for, if you're not getting the likes that you're looking for, try adjusting what you do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said have your culture on IG, but refer them to your site.
To the website. Okay.
Because you can do a lot more on the website.
Yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate that.
No problem.
That's great information right there. And you know, Jerritt and I have spoken with a lot of people, and I mean that's right there in line with everybody's saying. What I'm throw into the mix is also make sure that whether it be the domain or the website platform, make sure they don't have anything against cannabis as well.
Yeah.
Like, because you set your whole website up and get it all going, and then they're like, "Oh, wait a minute,
what is this guy doing?"
Yeah. Oh, hell no! And then your whole thing get shut down, and you're going through the same process. But we in one of our videos with Victor Karpenko, he was telling us that same thing. He said, make sure that everything that is on your IG as well is on your website as well. So if your IG gets shut down, it's kind of like a backup. It stores everything for you there, so that you don't have to start all over and come up with new posts and come up with all that. So you don't lose it because it's already on your website. Mm-hmm. And to Jerritt's point, the culture piece is there as well.
Yeah. I love that point there. That's what they cannot mimic. That's the reason social media thrives and while new social media platforms are coming out now, like your social clubs or your fan base, right? It's because of the fact that, well, this is created from within the culture, and then you guys have to catch up. You can't just, I turn my phone on, boom, Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, that would be weird. And then at that point, that there's something going on. You're like, I wonder if Apple got something going on with Coke, because you're like, every time I turn my iPhone on, this is what I see every time I download any app. So it's things like that can't be so blatant. And that's where social media platforms actually thrive. And that's that uniqueness that's within the culture, everything that you love about it that others would sometimes crucify is what real people know actually works. It's when you watch different movies, how you say that would never happen in real life. That's that part. It's the part that they don't quite understand from within the culture, and especially when it comes to our culture. And that's just a fact, and then so we do talk about the creating the hub, and that is extremely important, Jerritt. I know those are just gems. That's why every time you say something, man, I'm throwing it up there because they're gonna see that too. You're gonna see the diamonds fall. But sprinkle me, man. But one thing that is able to be done, and I'll see if you two gentlemen would agree, is creating a social media buzz, right? So even if your landing spot is your hub, your website, where you have everything out there, nothing really hidden, was like that Corey mentioned, as long as it's good with the, where you created the domain, you put everything that you want to represent you, as Jerritt said, on that website. But a lot of people, we all are, Pearce, of course, you're a cannabis influencer, so how important the social media buzz is to a brand, whether established or at the beginning of things with 5 followers. What impact do you guys believe the social media buzz truly has on business? And I don't just mean you get 100,000 followers or whatever like that, but I mean, hey, 100,000 followers equals how much money? Because look, And I know, Pearce, I know that's a real thought in your head is like, all right, it's cool to get the buzz. I like it, but I have to be able to convert those people. So
Yeah, exactly.
So my question to you guys is, how impactful is the social media buzz in real business? You know,
I think it's pretty impactful, honestly. I know a couple of years ago, I had started, like you were talking about with the algorithms, my Facebook knew that I was into cannabis clothing, and then LRG popped up. And ever since then, I've been wearing LRG because every time I'm scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or something like that, I see one of their advertisements. So it's like, it stays present in my mind. So it's like, oh, well, let me go see what LRG got new today, or, stuff like that.
Jerritt?
We definitely have to have a conversion rate in order to be successful.
That's right.
If you got 100,000 people looking at you and you can't turn at least what I would say about 10% of that, it's the 100,000 followers, or that's not the audience you probably wanted to be reaching out to. From a cannabis standpoint, the social media buzz doesn't necessarily, you don't see that in the bottom line. The sales will only peak for something like that if you had somebody guest appearing in your dispensary.
Yeah.
Or you were doing something special. That's when you'll probably see the correlation. But creating a buzz on a social media buzz from our data standpoint doesn't necessarily generate the revenue that you're looking for. We've done guest appearances. They don't always seem to work well. And I believe that has to do with the culture of cannabis over necessarily what you would see if you were selling soda or something like that.
So to clarify, do you mean that in the cannabis community, us seeing Ludacris, love on a cannabis product is not the same as when Ludacris had a deal with Pepsi, right? It's because they're saying like the cannabis community cares more about, hey, do you actually understand cannabis? Do you actually grow? Do you actually know what this does? Do you still use the word marijuana? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's stuff like that where you go, they're not really from within the culture. That was a paid advertisement. Just how Instagram makes you put up hashtag ad or things like that if you're getting paid for promo.
Yeah.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
I think that when I look at the data, that's what it's giving me. Pearce is once again, I want to go back to, he's the cultivar. People are going to listen to him before they listen to Ludacris. And that's just always been the case, unless Ludacris told them where to go get it. In the cannabis industry, name recognition in advertisement and social media buzz doesn't always go back to who can grow. If anyone had their druthers, they would like to go straight to a grow, purchase right from the farmer, because they will know exactly what they're getting, because the farmer can tell them exactly what they're getting. When we take on product in our dispensary, one thing we have to have are test results, and not just the standard, is this safe to smoke test results. We're looking for, does the grower understand what they've grown, so that we can communicate that to the customer, because we sell product online as well. And most people, especially in Oregon, they like to come. We have deli style, so they can come sniff the jar, understand what that bud is from our bud tenders. And they feel more comfortable purchasing that way. But if Pearce was standing right there, they would buy his flower 9 times out of 10, because he was there to explain what it is he grew and how that will affect the customer.
Yeah.
And that's what people are looking for. We're looking for knowledge. It's gone well beyond just number hunting, well beyond just saying, hey, look, how much is this the highest THC I can get? It goes further than that. We're called Releaf Health because we believe in the medicine side of it, the science side of it, things that have never been studied before. We're looking to understand that. And the best way to get that is directly from the cultivar themselves. Yeah.
How do you argue that? How can you argue that? Like, oh no, I'd rather have, like, who really chooses if no money is involved? Let's just say when we're just talking about the quality before we get to pricing and all that kind of stuff. Would you rather get a burger from McDonald's, or would you rather go to, this local spot that somebody actually vouch for, the taste, vouch for the service, vouch for whatever the experience is with this product? Yeah, it's a big deal. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, Jerry, you brought up a good point earlier. He was talking about conversion rates, and I don't think a lot of people really think about that when it comes to social media in general. They put their clout and they put their value based off of the number of followers they have, subscribers, or whatever word they send them they want to use to describe that. But if whatever the purpose of your business is, if that's not being achieved from those followers or subscribers, then it's empty calories. It's empty calories. It's something that you can say, yeah, man, I got 2 million followers on this, and that. But great, but what do those 2 million followers do for you? And
exactly.
Only a small percentage, I believe, and I can't quote where I heard it from, but anywhere from 1 to 10% of all your followers are the actual, like, legitimate rocking with your brand. Like, I'm gonna purchase flying high, just to support it because I support Pearce and I support the brand. And then a lot of the other people are just watchers, or they may support the brand, but they may not fiscally support the brand.
Yeah.
And I've run into that problem. I wouldn't say a lot, but I definitely have people that, follow me in my account and they like my content and stuff like that. But
every single post.
Yeah, but have never purchased a single thing from me. So it's like, I do appreciate it, but like Jerritt was talking about, I need conversion rates.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, people are doing a lot of stuff, Corey, that you bring up a really good point, and I'm glad we really are continuing to touch on the conversion rate part. Like, that's the end goal, people. Like, that's the end goal. Now, where we talk about only being able to capture a certain small percentage of this big, public display of love, right? Everybody can see your numbers, how many you got. Does it help a business, in your opinion, Jerritt? Does it help a business when they begin to spend marketing dollars on big influence? So let's say I'm playing the numbers game. I once had 10,000 followers. Now I align myself with insert famous TikToker, whatever here, right? And now I'm up to 500,000. Based on what we were saying about the conversion rate, now is that something that you believe brands should do if they have the marketing dollars and they come across someone that they can afford? You know what I mean? Like, it's not an issue to pay them. Is that a smart move for a business to do, in your opinion, over maybe investing in packaging, or investing in, like, and by that I mean, like, maybe explaining what's in the product better so you can show your knowledge, and other forms of marketing? How does that compare?
Short answer, in the cannabis industry, no. I believe you should put that money elsewhere. I believe in the cannabis industry, the marketing works totally different. I'm originally from Florida. Florida oranges are Florida oranges, no matter where you get them from.
Right.
Normal, the way the cannabis market is set up right now, to most people, weed is weed.
Yeah.
And unless they understand, unless they're educated on what it is they're purchasing, it's just weed. So if I put, Snoop Dogg's name on it, it's not going to do any better than not, unless Snoop Dogg is standing there.
Right.
If he's not standing there, it's just weed.
Yeah.
And I go back again to the cultivar. The cultivars are the rock stars of the cannabis industry. Okay.
Yep.
And in this industry, just like in our food industry, we give our farmers very little respect. The people who grow our food to sustain our lifestyles, we give them very little respect. In the cannabis industry, that is compounded on a lot of other different avenues. In most top quality cannabis, in certain places, you should be getting $3,000 a pound. In Oregon, maybe 600.
Yeah.
500. A cultivar cannot sustain himself on those type of margins. So when you ask me, should you put your money towards marketing that or grabbing an outside influencer to market that? I would say no. I would say no.
So I got a question real quick. So I was on LinkedIn the other day and I saw a gentleman say that cultivators are getting hurt by the price point, but retailers' prices are staying the same.
Exactly.
So the question is, how can retailers' prices stay the same and cultivators bear the brunt of the price of the price deflation? And what do you think, in your opinion, can be done to help those individuals?
Perfect world, get rid of the MSOs.
Hello.
In the when you talk about business, you have to look at supply and demand. Okay, there's too much cannabis being grown, too much, by these large corporations. And as a business owner of a dispensary, I have to look at margins as well as looking at the quality of flower and figure out where that sweet spot is. But trust and believe the prices in the retail will stay the same because there's so much flower in the industry. It would not be in the best interest of a small business to buy $3,000 a pound flower, right, if they can get it for $600. And that's only determined because you're going to have certain flower that just stands out, certain flower that is immaculate. It looks great. It has that feel to it. The trichomes look wonderful. And then I have to weigh that by something that looks like cannabis and smells like cannabis, and I have some information on it, but because the growers are hurting, they have to sell it for practically nothing. And more and more of the growers in the legalized industry are moving back to the legacy market because they simply cannot make it. And that is a direct result of both regulation and these large conglomerates. And I will say this, the large conglomerates, I don't have in my dispensary for that very reason. Because there has to be a line somewhere. And, everybody's not looking to make a deal with the large venture capitalist company or venture capitalist group to sell. Right. Mm-hmm. Some of us are in this for the love of the game.
Exactly.
And we are being hurt. And I think consumers should be worried about them growing our cannabis too, because a lot of this stuff is going into and getting into the hands of consumers, and it's not always quality tested stuff. Some of these people are gaming the system in a way, finding the loopholes in the system and gaming it. And eventually you're not going to want to smoke cannabis from a dispensary. You're going to go find someone else to buy, who grows cannabis, to purchase it, because it's a commodity. I can grow in certain areas. You can grow it in your backyard. Now, you allow 6 plants. I'm sure if I gave Pearce 6 plants, the return on that, based on what you can get in the streets for cannabis, would be far greater, just because they know who grew it.
That's another good point. We're talking about celebrities and then their brands, because like for instance, if you're a basketball player, right? You're a Hall of Fame basketball player, or no, let's say Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is a Hall of Fame boxer, but you don't really expect Mike Tyson to know how to grow cannabis, right? To grow weed, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of times I feel like it's a white label situation. It's like, we're gonna grow your cannabis, we're gonna, or the manufacturer grows the cannabis, and then Mike Tyson pays for the rights for the product, and then they slap their label on it, and then they sell their product. So then, but now when it's called for them to explain the quality of their product, as you were saying, Jerritt, they can't really go into the depth of, are we talking about terpenes? Are we the different the THC, how high the THC percentage is, and so on and so forth, which again works towards the smaller business favor, but the visibility piece is always the challenge.
Yep. That's why I asked that question. That's why it's like, that's why that is a tough. I know when I said it to you, Jerritt, sometimes you like, why would you spend the money on marketing? That makes no sense. The normal business person. But the thing is, when you're like, they're over there, I'm seeing them over there get tons of love, and they have no clue what they're doing. We actually have mostly a full team of cultivators that understand everything there is to understand about that, who had to then turn themselves into entrepreneurs and influencers and things like that. Like, we come from this. So the idea of all the attention going that way is tough. It's almost like the same fight that, the cool kid who really is cool, but he's religious in high school, and he's like, I'm living my life for God, and that's who I am, and I was raised this way, and that's my belief system, and blah blah blah, right? But then the other dude, right, who never means anyone else any good, extremely selfish or whatever like that, he getting your dream girl. He getting your dream girl. He's hanging out with all the cool people. People he ain't even paying for anything. You don't pay for lunch. They love him so much. You know what I'm talking about. It comes off in that way. I use that metaphor because at some point we all were high schoolers and can remember something not seeming fair on a social level where it just doesn't quite make sense. You might not have cared that much, but it doesn't make sense to you, and you kind of give it the stink face because you're like, but this dude is, never mind. He ain't even, all right, it's fine. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? And you just kind of accept it. That's a tough battle. That's a real tug of war in the industry for sure. Now, we know that marketing is not the end all be all. So you know, fine, you have good marketing, you know, kudos to you. All right, fine. You got it at a cheap price, whatever. But we already started talking about the operations, talking about customer service. Operations is a huge part of, you know, doing this. You know, we talk about cultivators, and so we're talking about growing. Corey mentioned manufacturing, and then, you know, now we're getting it to the point where it's in the retail stores, you know, as Jerritt, you know, shine a lot of light on. We're in the retail stores, and then we're talking marketing. But the whole system, the operations of it all is so important. What do you feel, Jerritt, is like the biggest misconception that's out there about, you know, the full operation from start to finish when you have a young person trying to become an entrepreneur in the game?
I always tell people to, once you understand your capital, find out which part of the market your capital will work in.
Okay.
When I started in this 6 years ago, 7 years ago now, we started in transportation. So we literally had 2 vans that we would run all over the state, just delivering wholesale product. We had a wholesale license. We delivered wholesale product. We moved it from the grows, moved it directly to the dispensaries. Got our money up, then got the dispensary. It's not an inexpensive endeavor. It never has been. It takes a lot to grow cannabis. A lot. These are, you know, these are just like these are female plants, and just like a female plant, it has to be nurtured and cared for, spoken to every day. It has to be tended to properly, and if it's not, then you wind up with unusable flower. You know, if you are a grower, a cultivar, and you are not in your farm, I don't understand what you're doing. So to understand the full breadth of this industry, you have to be in this industry. I would advise you go find somebody who does this and work with them for a while. Once you understand your capital and you understand what license or what sector, because everybody doesn't have to touch the flower in order to be in the cannabis industry. There's several sectors of the cannabis industry that need help.
Yep.
The reason, you know, we have done so much tech and innovation when it comes to cannabis is because no one else was doing it. So find out where your capital can be deployed. If that's a license holder, great. If it's not, whatever that industry is, and then go work with them.
Yeah.
You know, go to that owner or that CEO and say, look, whatever you need, I'll volunteer. I just need some OJT time, on the job training. And understand what it is that you're getting into. And once you understand it, then you can move to the point of business plan, putting together a plan to help you be successful. But you have to understand what you're working with, and you have to understand what it is you want to do in order to be successful at that thing.
Okay.
One more time.
Telling you.
One more time. I know I'm looking at Pearce's face right now. He's like, yo, I'm picking it up. I'm picking up everything you putting down right now.
Everything he's saying is resonating with me because, like I said, I want to grow, but it's just me, and I didn't have the funds to go and get an operation. So now I'm white labeling other people's products and, just getting my name and likeness out there. So I am able to build my capital and, take the next step like you're talking about.
Yeah. And Pearce, and your brand is an e-commerce brand, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so as we talk about operations and as we talk about marketing and everything, let's get a little bit into the e-commerce side. And then, here in Texas, it's all hemp. It's all hemp. Won't have any Mary Jane or recreational use. I mean, there's a small compassionate use program, but even that's a monopoly.
Yeah.
Can't even get into that. It's all ran by I believe 2 companies in total, from the cultivation to the dispensary and the distribution of it. So so on the e-commerce side, it's how do you, when you have, I guess you have more access. I guess you have a little bit more access to funds now, right? Because dealing with hemp, right? Some banks will bank hemp businesses.
Yeah.
Some banks will give some capital to some hemp businesses. So how can you get ahead in that aspect then? So now there's a lower barrier to entry, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can a business like Pearce's get ahead? And Pearson, if you have any specific questions in regards to that piece, definitely would love to hear those.
How could a person like myself get ahead, man? Is just build your cash. I work a part-time job. I serve tables, man, just to get capital to put into my business, because I have experiences. My bank that I've been using, well, I haven't been using it since 99, but my bank account has been open since 1999, and they still wouldn't rent me a business account because of the type of business that I deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I work an extra job, man. I used to do DoorDash and Uber Eats and Instacart and everything you could, man, just to build some cash to get into this. That's actually how I started selling T-shirts and stuff, right? I call it a fundraiser. I know what my end goal is, so let me build my brand, my likeness, and my cash flow at the same time.
That's what I call the grind right there. That's real life, real experience, building a business, figuring it out any way how to get to your end goal and destination right there.
Yeah.
It's not what social media shows you, the highlight reels.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Jerritt, what do you what game would you have to drop about that?
Ask the question again,
Corey.
Because I want to make sure I get that right, Corey.
So when it comes to, there's a lower barrier of entry to e-commerce businesses. And on top of that, in Texas, specifically and I mean, hemp is legal across the U.S., right? So let's just say that in general, right? So for an e-commerce brand that is solely providing hemp products, what can they do to get ahead? I know that's a really broad question, so I'm gonna go a little bit further. You were talking about creating a website and website platforms earlier. Is there a specific e-commerce platform that you are platforms that you recommend that brands start on to get their foot in the door until they start raising more capital?
It really depends on what e-commerce platform we're speaking of. Some of them won't deal with hemp. Some of them will. Then you have to deal with the credit card and banking piece, as Pearce was alluding to. That's even worse. trying to deal with banks because the majority of them forget what they'll say. The majority of them will not deal in hemp. As a matter of fact, when you try and sign up for most of these accounts, they will ask you straight out, do you deal in cannabis or hemp? And hemp is legal throughout the United States, and some of them still will not allow banking. Quick aside, banks have never dealt with Black people.
Come on.
That's not even what my bank asked me, man. They asked me, there's a certain code that you have to enter when you're signing up for the account, and they saw that I dealt with items that could be used to smoke tobacco and or cannabis, and that's when they just so anything smokable, anything that's helping other people consume what they like to call illicit substances. They just wasn't messing with it at all. They turned me around quick.
Oh yeah. So when you compound what we do with what's already systemic in the banking industry, what you will find is the same thing you've always found. But as Pearce alluded to, you got to get your money up. This is a cash-based business. And from the looks of it, for the next 4 or 5 years, it will continue to be. They just, the Senate just sent the Safe Banking Act back to Congress. And not that I, am a fan of the Safe Banking Act, but there's nowhere for us to bank. Even we are working on certain projects in my software company where we're attempting to create a bank. The reason behind that is because there are ways to do it. We just have to figure out what the gray area is that we can still stay in the quote unquote black as opposed to moving over to the red, because something is going to have to be done. I've had and I never forget this, and this is an impetus on a lot of what I do. When we first started, this is maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, when we started the dispensary, because we started wholesale and then we moved to dispensary. A young man came in to my dispensary looking for a job. Because we were not banked, there were certain things that we had to do. As far as how we pay employees and things of that nature. It's gotten a little bit better, but it's still just as difficult. He went and started working at another dispensary. 2 weeks into working for that dispensary was robbed and he was murdered. The politicians are not going to save the cannabis industry. The cannabis industry has to save the cannabis industry. It's legal. It's legal in the states where we operate. So we have to figure out how to create legal frameworks within an illegal space. And that's what it boils down to. A lot of cannabis companies, especially in the illegal market, deal with the 280E tax code. I'm sure you're familiar with that. This is where the innovation comes in, because we have to figure out a way around these things. And some of these conversations will be back conversations, which is why Pearce and I are going to hook up after this podcast. But it's always going to be difficult for us. But as always, we have to figure out how to operate. There's no other way around it. We have young brothers and sisters every day wanting to get into this industry. But we also have young brothers and sisters waiting to get into any industry. And can you name me a company in this country that is owned, controlled, and operated on the Forbes Top 100 by us?
Drop it in the comments below if you know.
If you know, tell me.
Nah, for real.
Because, you know, I mean, they're dealing with Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett. I mean, you know, yeah, hey, look, we love Jay-Z and P. Diddy, but there's a disconnect because they don't call that money over there. But we're going to have to create our own framework in order to keep this industry, or to get into any other industry. We have to be able to harness our resources to support those. This is the message to the consumers. Who are you buying your cannabis from? Are you buying it from Pearce, or are you buying it from MedMen?
Yeah, straight up like that.
And if we are to be supported, we're gonna have to be supported. We gotta have to be self-sufficient.
I'm supportive of each other. You're saying it, man.
And I won't go off into too much of a diatribe because we might have to edit some of this stuff. But
his business is off of MLK Junior Boulevard for a reason.
Nah, for real.
I mean, there's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of barriers in place for cannabis businesses, and then there's a lot of inequities in place for minorities. So you compound that, and it just makes everything that much harder just to be seen, to be heard, and to get individuals to your brand, to get individuals to fly high.
Hey, man, because that's the only goal. The sky's the limit.
Yeah. And you mentioned Mike Tyson and a lot of these white labels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't knock anybody trying to get their money, but we all know Mike Tyson ain't grow no weed.
Yeah.
I heard he growing shrooms, but I ain't hear anything about the weed.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I walked into a dispensary in Boston, and they got a picture of him, Tyson 2.0, with him smelling the bud like he grew it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the most popular, like, athlete, celebrity, whatever that has products within the cannabis industry at this moment right now. Like without a question, it almost came out of nowhere to us. And even recently, I heard about, you know, him and Evander Holyfield are going in on the ear. It's a gummy, but it's an ear. Come on. First of all, that when you talk about marketing, we mentioned marketing earlier. That's just taking what we talked about offline. Black folks doing what black folks do, which is remixing and finding another way and figuring out plan B through Z. You know, when life gives you lemons type idea. You know, because that one right there is just, that's crazy. But the marketing is off. It was already marketed. All you had to do was create it,
biting off ear on the bag, and boom.
Come on, genius. and the fact that both of them are together smiling, like,
it was a conspiracy theory, man. They did that on purpose. They knew what they were doing in that boxing ring.
Look,
so 20-something years later, they could come back and sell some gummies.
It was a slow game. It was a slow game.
Hey, man.
Look, and it's a great marketing campaign.
Yeah.
My question to the Tyson Ranch is, let's look at the bottom line, because the numbers at the end of the day from a lot of these large MSOs look like, I mean, they're burn victims. They're essentially burning through more cash than a little bit. So what that tells me is they're trying to hold on long enough to get all of the Pearces out of business, all of the Jerritts out of business. They're holding on long enough to where we will be eliminated just by attrition based on certain factors that we've already covered.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna try.
And that's where the consumer comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the consumer. So I don't have a problem with Mike Tyson getting that money, because he gonna get his money regardless of how many of those ears they sell.
Facts.
He gonna get that money regardless. That's a branding deal.
Yeah.
One of the stores that I'm actually in talks with, man, that's one of the products that I'm competing with right now is Mike Tyson's ears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like you walk in the store and you don't know who I am. Who are you gonna buy?
Yeah. Corey and I covered that when we were talking during our social equity series, talking about trying to help social equity applicants, people making their way through that difficult portal there. The biggest thing was, there were people out there that needed capital immediately, right? So let's say they get this small, bit of capital to start, but they don't even have enough to continue leasing the properties that they're leasing because the investors have dried up, right? And then the investors are still saying, hey, you need more time to build what? Oh, we don't, we can't do that, and that's the issue. The MSOs can easily wait. They're like, yeah, we're in the red, it's cool, just fall back. They'll drop out. They only have 2 months left of hope. You know what I'm saying? Like, and only 3 months left of faith. So they gonna literally they need it. And what are they gonna do? Well, they can't do anything. So in 4 months, that's when we gonna clean up. And that's where the takeover is coming on, because a lot of people are out there spreading the message that we're spreading right now. Just saying, hey, be careful, take care of each other. The MSOs, that's happening. But at the end of the day, can you outlast them? And the answer is no. So it's making things really difficult. And the only thing you could do is have strong business, like real business. That's the issue too that we notice in this industry is, people figure out the business later. You get what I'm saying? And though we love the fact that there are people that are coming from the legacy market, that's great. But just know that when you're starting this thing out, like really putting together a great business plan and knowing and putting together like realistic cash projections and, your pro forma and things like that, it has to be done correctly through operations. Then how you decide on what you're going to do with marketing, packaging, shipping, customer retention, all those things. Because at the end of the day, these businesses is one thing that they do know, and that's business itself. That's what they do know. So yes, they do have money, but they also know business. They understand markets, how to market analysis and things like that, so that they are always on top, even when they're in the red.
They can afford to hire the people that know it. They
Come
may
on.
not do it themselves, but
when I say, I don't mean a person, right? It's the machine knows it, right? The machine can know it or figure it out. No problem. We're going to pay, like Corey said. We'll pay to figure that out. Now, man, that is some gems, man. One more time, man, bro. Oh my gosh, brother Jerritt Thomas, man. Y'all make sure you definitely go share him some love. Don't just like, share, subscribe. We appreciate that too, but you make sure you go. We're gonna actually make sure in the description on these different platforms of this episode, you'll know exactly where to find Releaf Health. Jerritt Thomas, he might not want to be found, but Releaf Health wants to be found. You know what I'm saying? And of course, you know how we're gonna do our thing with Flying High for sure going forward.
Do they have drop shipping in cannabis? Has anybody seen that?
I know where you're going with that. We got to talk offline.
Okay.
Ooh, there might be a part 2, people.
That's something that I can mention online. There is a drop shipping that I've noticed around Delta 8 and CBD. I don't know how fast their shipping is, but it's possible.
Because I was thinking, just as everybody was talking, it's like how can you win? Because with e-commerce being, again, a lower barrier to entry, that makes it marketing much more important to differentiate yourself from the thousands and thousands of e-commerce brands, right? And I was trying to see, like, well, if I was trying to get into the game and I have very little capital, what's the best way to go about it? And I was like, well, maybe drop shipping, have people buy it first, get the funds, then fulfill, use those funds to purchase the product from a wholesaler and then fulfill that to the customer.
Yeah.
But I haven't done any research into the regulations behind all that, and interstate and interstate, commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Though, but still.
And as we talk about going forward, just to kind of put a cap on this whole thing, I didn't want to log off without talking about the future of e-commerce, because I know this conversation to a real hopeful can feel a little grim, and I understand that, but this is just the truth. So you have to know it, so you can get everything right. But when we talk about the future, what is the future of e-commerce and small businesses that are looking to become the big dogs? Whether they're minority-owned companies, apparel companies, right? And cannabis brands maybe outside of those two. What does the future look like? Do we have an idea? Jerritt, what do you think?
I think the future of e-commerce is bright, especially when we figure out how to digitize the dollar. I think there are things a e-commerce company could achieve that a brick and mortar cannot. I believe there is hustle in the e-commerce space, and the big box stores don't have hustle like that.
Like Pearce.
They don't have that hustle. But we know that hustle better than anybody else. We've always had to operate from lack. But if you hustle in the e-commerce space, if you connect with the right people, I think the future in this space is bright. There is a reason that malls are closing. There is a reason that the grocery stores are nervous. That is directly from the supplier or the cultivar or the developer straight to the consumer. The future of e-commerce eliminates the middleman, and it should lower prices overall if it's handled appropriately. Exactly. So I think the e-commerce space, especially in our community, is great because products can get into hands very quickly. USPS, for those who are not in cannabis, can get it there in 2 days. Unfortunately, you can't do that with us, unfortunately, but we're steady working with legislation to try and get that to happen. Because when you see that e-commerce take off, I think you will see a lot more of us thriving in that industry, because we can reach out to everyone. You don't have to be just in Oregon or just in Michigan or in Pearce's case, just in Texas. You can be anywhere and get premium product at affordable prices. And for that reason, I think e-commerce should be the go-to for anyone who has any retail component in their business model. I believe you have to have a e-commerce space, and you have to have people around you who understand that space and can at least figure out a small crack or hack to get into these algorithms. But I believe the future of e-commerce is going to be bright.
Boom.
And then on top of that, secondly, I was just thinking, I was like, and again, it's more another shout out to you, Pearce, because Pearce is actually getting out there and going to events, and one of another individual that really put us on game with some knowledge is Shay Rowbottom. And one strong quote that she has is people do business with people. Versus, and that goes to what Jerritt has been saying. People do business with people, not people do business with other businesses, because your business is a system. It's in our heads like mechanical, right? It doesn't have any emotions or anything, right? That's why the term "it's just business" is around, right? Because it's cutthroat.
Yeah.
But when you get to know the individual, such as Pearce, and you meet, if I didn't meet Pearce and get to know Pearce, would I have any interest in flying high? Well, I mean, yes, I would, because he's a black individual in cannabis. But like real talk, it's like, okay, let's say there's 100 brands out there, right? And it was like, hey, I got this brand. Well, why would I care about that? But then when I know
over
like,
other,
this is a solid guy, solid brand, get to know the person, then I'm all in. Like, hey, support here. Look, I'll buy, pay for this, pay for that, whatever. I'll support. But you got to actually get out there. You got to actually get out there and show that initiative and go to events, go to expos, chop it up with people offline. Come on podcasts, do all that stuff, because that's a part of that marketing piece, that boots on ground sweat equity that you got to put into your brand to succeed in the long run.
No, I think absolutely. I think going to events is important. Sorry, I lost track of what I was going to say. I think going to events is important because you get to meet like the people that are going to buy your product or spectating buying your product. Like the hemp cup, man, I was out there and it blew my mind. I thought I was selling to young black individuals, or not just necessarily black, but young peers of mine. But man, it was old white people out there buying my merch and putting it on and telling me how much they loved it. So
fire.
Yeah, to put it into perspective to me that my audience is bigger than I expected it to be.
Yeah, man. And huge. I want to say it, as well, big shout out to you for being able to, just get over the hump, man. It's a mental hump that you're really getting over. There's no difference, man. Even when we're in the financial service space, we have peers there. Peers there. That's funny. Ain't that hard this episode? We have peers there that in accounting, bookkeeping, tax preparation, the biggest issue is when do you ever see an outgoing accountant? When do you ever see an outgoing tax preparer? Like really, like now you're starting to see a couple of the tax preparers, because that's an industry that is a little bit different from like accounting and bookkeeping slightly, but you just don't see it a lot. And I mean, really outgoing. They may pay for the promotions and do different things like that. But what was important for Corey and I is that we put ourselves out there. That's how the Cannabruhz was born, was off of, hey, if we sit around and just crunch numbers, I don't think everybody's just gonna, oh man, one person tells 20 people and 20 people tells 200. It's never going to happen like that. Now, when you give them something dope to talk about, when you come on and have different conversations like we're having today, that is what we knew people would connect with. So, we just want to give you your flowers. No pun intended. Give you your flowers, though. All pun intended. All pun intended. Yeah, we all pun intended. We want to give you your flowers today for just simply like Jerritt mentioned, just getting out there and hustling to get your capital up to be able to do the things that you want. And even though you say it's a fundraiser, it's a pretty dope fundraiser, man.
Hey,
so
you hear me? Much respect. I appreciate y'all.
For sure, man. Make sure y'all go to www.flyinghighclothing.com. That's FLYIN highclothing.com. Now, we got to leave them with something. So, Pearce, tell the people something that they haven't heard yet in this sit down about Flying High, and what they should be excited for if they're gonna support the brand.
I just tapped in with the top indoor cup winners of the past weekend cup winners, and we're gonna try to go ahead and get us online with Flying High so we can, get the top brands out there. I don't want to just push my brand out there. I want people to have the top quality cannabis from Texas.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you woke him up, man. He was like, "Oh, what?"
He said, "Top quality."
Dad, did you hear that?
Look, Adrian. Adrian. He's learning young. I wasn't that smart by far at that age. But no, we appreciate you, man. And yeah, man. Y'all make sure y'all go support, man. Not just because you rock with the Cannabruhz. Well, if that's the reason, I'm sure Pearce won't be mad about it. But by the way, I'm that's the perfect time, right? Right now, we do got that promo code, so y'all check the description. You know, make sure y'all check the description, so y'all can go get some of that Flying High merch. You know what I'm saying, and be able to, yeah, all that. So make sure you go support for sure, man. Look, they got variety. You know, we're wearing 2 different pieces right now, so you know I'm in the chair right now, but y'all see the link so that y'all can support great quality product. Y'all hear the story behind the CEO, the brand itself. But ultimately, if you just want to make sure you can get right, you know, for the holiday season, you ain't out there looking bummy, you know, and you want to be able to show your support for the industry as well, then this is a great product, a great brand with great products that you can support. One time before we get out of here, more flowers to give to Jerritt Thomas and of Releaf Health. Jerritt, yeah, much appreciated. Just the fact that you were dropping gems over and over. Adrian appreciates it. Tell the people, leave them with a little bit more about Releaf Health and where they could find you guys one more time, and just something they should know about what you have going on.
Well, if you want to check us out, definitely check out our website, reliefhealth.green. That's RELEAF health. Definitely check us out on our website. The link to our IG is always there. So when it goes down, we just change it up, put another one up there. And also come in and check us out in store if you're ever in the area, 3213 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Portland, Oregon. And we would love to have you in. We always have a chair open for anybody who wants to come in and just enjoy the vibe, enjoy the smells, enjoy understanding what the cannabis plant is and what it can do. And always remember, we offer quality products at affordable pricing. Say that again.
Come on. Yeah. That's what's up, man. And you know, we're going to connect y'all with whatever you need, you know. So that's what we call on the Cannabruhz plug talk. So y'all just got a little plug talk. That's 2 great brands that are doing their thing in the industry. But most importantly, we've appreciated if you've made it to this part of the podcast. We appreciate you sitting with us and learning something and supporting, because it's a beautiful thing to see 4 Black brothers sit down, take their time out of their busy schedules to say, hey, let's build and let's connect. You know, not only does the cannabis industry need that, but minorities need that, and Black folks need that. We thought it was very important that people were able to see that, and we want to be the representation. You know, we want to be able to uplift great brands like what you 2 gentlemen have going on, and that's important to us. So if you support that, then make sure you like, share, subscribe, so you can continue to follow the Cannabruhz, because this is what we do, and we gonna down that sword. Ain't that right, Corey?
Couldn't have said it any better.
Yes, sir, man. We appreciate y'all. And that's it. And we up.
Hey, go get that.
All right, I like that. We up.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Here to give you knowledge that you didn't know. Put you on some game, now you got a buzz. You are now listening to Cannabruhz.